Are these kinds of things always messages from our guides or our higher self, or can they just be reflections of our own limiting belief and not so much guidance as reflections of our fears and limitations?
It can be either, but again, it depends upon what the symbols mean to you. You can use them in a positive or a negative way. You can say, I keep seeing this, and therefore it's reflective of the fact that I'm focusing on this particular negative belief. Or you can also say, I keep seeing this, and it's reflective of the fact that I'm focusing on a particular positive belief. It depends on how you use it. Synchronicity itself is relatively neutral. It depends on how you use it and what it means to you, what it reflects to you.
So the idea that you could get excited about any synchronicity
Yes.
allows it to be a trigger for being in a positive state, because suddenly you recognize that everything is one, everything is orchestrated in some way.
Yes.
It-
And it brings your attention to what you need to pay attention to, whether positive or negative beliefs within yourself.
Now, this person is saying that they find themselves attached to their desires, following the excitement, but instead of trusting and releasing them, they attach to them, try to control them. As you know, this doesn't work very well for them. So, how can they reach new levels of trust and allow their self to surrender?
Well, again, you have to stop thinking that your physical mind knows what's best all the time. It doesn't. You have to understand that holding on to a particular outcome, insisting on a particular outcome, is a limitation on what could possibly happen that would be even better. So you have to give up the idea that your physical mind knows what the ideal outcome absolutely always should be. You have to let go and let yourself know that you're imposing limitations on yourself that you don't need to impose. Even though it may seem as if I'm controlling this to make sure it comes out to be the best, that's the opposite of what you're doing by insisting on a particular outcome. You're actually limiting yourself from experiencing what you could be experiencing. So when that finally sinks in, you'll stop doing it. Unless you really prefer to keep limiting yourself. That's okay if that's your path. But I think you sound like you're tired of it.
Mm. You have said that the soul is driving the car and the ego has a wheel that is not connected to anything.
I didn't
You've
say that.
also,
I didn't
okay,
say that.
all right. Well, then
Again,
this question's
ego serves
probably
the
not very
purpose.
good.
The ego serves the purpose of allowing you to experience physical reality in a clear and precise way. But that's its job. It doesn't mean it's not connected to anything. It simply means it's not supposed to be steering the car to where you wish to go. It's just supposed to help you see where it is that the car has gone after you have steered it with the idea of acting on your passion, which is following the directions of your higher mind.
And this last sentence in their question was, you will discover that you've said you will discover that you have been in control this whole time.
From the higher
So,
level, yes.
so that analogy of driving the car versus um, realizing that at another level you're in control. So it's not that you're in control per se at this level, except for how you respond to everything that happens.
Exactly. You are in control of your reactions and responses. You have the free will to decide how you will experience the idea of the life path that you have laid out from a higher level.
And this person had a huge awakening journey and found integration back into 3D world of Earth very difficult. They felt very lonely walking their path. Any advice for that?
The whole idea when you have a higher level vibrational experience is to bring that down to earth, not feel that you are missing something, but that you have been given a great and beautiful opportunity to know what that vibration can be like when you bring it down to earth through the actions of serving humanity by following your passion. So It's not there to make you feel alone. It's there to make you realize you are all one and to bring that vibration and the opportunity to experience that high vibration to others as well through the work that you do in service to humanity by acting on your passion.
Okay. And um, is life more like a single player or a multi-player game? Is free will also orchestrated?
Your free will is your free will in terms of the freedom to, within the overall agreement, the collective agreement, the freedom to be the individual that you chose to be, the freedom to learn the lessons that you chose to learn in whatever way you wish to, or ignoring them completely. So you have a great degree of freedom within the game, within the rules you have agreed to play, and there are individual levels of agreement as well as collective levels of agreement. So again, we use the analogy of a game of chess. You have agreed to a play by the rules of chess, but the strategy you use is up to your free will. The kind of pieces you use and what they're made of is up to your free will. But you have to follow the rules of chess, otherwise you're not playing by the rules of chess. You're playing a different game. So, yes, there are collective agreements, but you have a great degree of freedom within that to be yourself in how you play the game. Play fast, play slow, play openly, play sneaky. It's up to you.
Um, Next question. Are we and our loved ones really all our own unique souls that continue to exist in spirit after death? Or is it just like waves disappearing back into the ocean, so to speak?
You all still exist. You always will still exist, even though you know you belong to a greater ocean. So the drops in the ocean never disappear, even though they know that they are drops in the ocean. They are still drops. Remember, it's this and that, not this or that, not one or the other. It's both.
And can a place where you live in not want you there anymore?
No, you can make it seem as if it doesn't want you by amping your vibes to the point where you color the vibration of the location to push you out of it because you're the one that doesn't want to be there anymore. And you're simply projecting that on the location to make it seem as if the location is pushing you out, but you're the one doing it. So a location can become vibrationally incompatible to you, but that doesn't mean it wants you to leave. It's simply reflecting what you're giving off, that you want yourself to move.
And what role will Bashar and Darryl have post 2030? Will Darryl ever finally get to meet you face to face?
Yes, and that's all we will say about that at this time.
Okay. And how old are you for this particular transmission?
Somewhere between 137 and 157, depending upon the question.
And do you stay in your ship above Sedona, or do you go back and forth to Essassani, or are you able to be in two places at once?
It's not so much being in two places at once, but I'm able to go back and forth without you necessarily noticing because time for me is not what it is for you.
And you never sleep, right?
No,
But you rest.
we can rest,
Or when you're in a state of repose, is that a state of resting?
kind of, or a state of activity in a different way, on a different level.
So that is one piece of furniture that we would see in spaceships, chairs.
When they are necessary, they will extrude from the floor. When they're no longer necessary, they will dissolve back into the floor or the wall, at least in our ships.
And your demeanor translates through the channel in tone of voice, facial expressions, and physical gestures. However, when you laugh, your laughter does not translate through the channel, and you will tell us one moment we are laughing. I'm just curious about why your laughter does not translate through the channel. Can you explain?
Yes, we have explained this before. Perhaps you have missed it. But a full body laugh will disconnect us from the channel because the channel will then withdraw within himself because laughter is very centralizing. And therefore, in a sense, it will wake the channel up.
Do members of your species ever get the giggles?
We laugh a lot.
And are we your favorite laughter stimulator?
Certainly, you are one of them.
What other things do you encounter that
That's
make you laugh?
enough for now.
Okay. Um, how are the hybrid children birthed? Are they physically carried like human fetuses? And how is the human DNA connected to create hybrid children?
I believe that many of you already understand that sometimes the fetus can be carried for a small length of time by the human female and then removed and placed in what you might call a maturation chamber, taken to full term from DNA that was collected and harvested in what you typically refer to as the abduction phenomenology.
And will some forces of nature change on planet Earth upon open contact? For example, will the regions of the poles become less magnetic, or will gravity even become lighter?
These things have absolutely nothing at all to do with open contact. No.
Okay, and um, one second here. Seem to want to move. Um, can you elaborate more on the hive mind spectrum that different civilizations choose? Like, what is the difference in a negative hive mind spectrum that the Greys adopted from a positive hive mind spectrum where we are headed towards?
Who says that the Greys are exhibiting a negative hive mind? This is a
Well, with
misunderstanding. If you mean that they adopted the idea of the hive mind because of certain other negative activities, and therefore the hive mind is what they needed to do to save themselves, that's a different issue if that's what you mean. We will
and
not
is
necessarily address further details of this right now. It will go into too lengthy of an explanation.
okay. And is there such a thing as star seeds?
Yes, of course, but star seeds are simply each and every single one of you who understands that you are here by choice participating in the evolution of humanity. So you're all star seeds in that context.
Okay. And some teachings talk about how this world is totally neutral or doesn't have inherent meaning, and that we are the ones that give it meaning with our thoughts and beliefs. But you've also seen things in this world that have their own properties too, like some foods seem to be healthy, some substances seem to do certain things, etc. Can you help clarify this? Is everything neutral outside of our perception, or do things have their own vibrations and properties only?
When things seem to have
Alone.
their own built-in meanings, it's because of the collective agreement, so you don't have to think about it. It doesn't mean that it always works for every individual. There can be some exceptions depending on your life path. But those things that seem kind of automatically built in are simply usually the result of the collective agreement so that you don't have to always think about it. So things that you have collectively said, well, this is generally a healthy thing to do, are simply put there by the collective. So again, you don't have to constantly reinforce that idea. You simply accept it as a given for most people on your planet. You also know that there can be exceptions depending upon what a person has chosen for their individual life path. So it just depends. But yes, it's all neutral to begin with, and the collective agreement may make some things seem to have built-in meaning, but that's just because of the collective agreement. They can be superseded by some people if that's part of their life path to do so.
Okay. And is there a cosmic battle going on between negative ETs and good ETs?
No,
Okay. And I guess I'll find the last question here. Um, this person is asking about time and progression. From what they understand, it can take hundreds, if not thousands of years to progress from one density to the next. If we are all timeless beings, how is it that some beings like yourself have evolved so much farther than us? Is existence one endless loop that once we become one with Source, again we start all over?
It's not quite the way that you're depicting this. And again, remember, you experience time by definition in physical reality to experience growth and expansion in a certain way. And certain cycles can make things take a long time, depending upon the processes that are necessary in which a group of individual souls has decided to band together to evolve. We have had a head start. We are a physical race that is artificial and therefore have been given a head start, which is why we are more advanced than you are. We didn't start from scratch, so to speak, in the way that our souls progress. But the idea in general is that, yes, you're timeless beings, but not in terms of physical beings. In physicality, you experience time, and therefore, in time, you experience evolution, and therefore, you experience cycles and timing and things like that. You are only timeless when you're non-physical.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for all this information. I hope everyone found it beneficial and expansive, and we really appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure and our deep appreciation and unconditional love to all of you. Allow yourselves now to move forward and become relaxed. Enjoy.
Are observing this through a glass wall, or does it mean that we are essentially on the other side of this glass wall with this elected person? If so, is there still time to switch sides by following our passion and going more neutral?
We have just answered this question.
When you made your statement in Sedona, I presume you knew that the outcome of the election would be the male winning. Knowing this, your taking responsibility comment makes sense, that we must take responsibility for this path that we've chosen. If we voted for the female, what does it mean to take responsibility here?
What it means is that at this point, as we have said, it doesn't matter who you voted for. Taking responsibility is taking responsibility to your reaction and response to the transmission that we delivered. That's what we mean by taking responsibility. And we are now discussing the idea of the actions necessary to take responsibility for your responses and reactions by coming together and having open discussions, clear discussions, by understanding each other, by listening to each other, by really talking with each other. This is what's important now, and would be a true expression of your willingness to take responsibility for the initial reactions and responses that you had to our comments in our transmission. This is now what we're watching. This is now what we're observing. This is what's important to move forward, no matter who you voted for, no matter what your election is. As we said, this is a play playing out, and what's going on behind the scenes is actually more about what's really going on your planet than it is in terms of the play act that happens to be your elections. For that is a screen.
Are you providing transmissions to parallel realities where the US elected the female in this recent election? Do you personally find certain timelines more exciting than others? Compared to timelines where the female may have won this election, what positive aspects or opportunities do you see within the current timeline, both on a collective and individual basis?
I believe you are beginning to see how the way in which a lot of these questions are framed are now becoming irrelevant based on what we have already said.
Okay. Is World War III coming?
We talked about the idea of the imbalanced energy that is typically referred to as masculinity might lead in that direction. It doesn't mean it will happen. It will lead in that direction. Remember, the idea of what you might refer to as World War III does not necessarily have to be and never will be a nuclear exchange. So the idea is that it may lead by an imbalance of energies that are typically referred to as masculine style energies of aggressiveness, will lead closer and closer to the idea of what you will experience or call World War III. Again, it doesn't mean it will actually happen if you are willing to understand what we are saying to you in this transmission today.
Okay.
We are now speaking on behalf of the Interstellar Alliance Council. And we are giving you the result of the discussions that are ongoing in this council. So we would strongly encourage you to pay attention to the way in which information is being given to you, to listen to the wording, for it is precise. We said things would lead in certain directions, not that it was inevitable. But nevertheless, by allowing yourselves to begin true communication, you can pull yourselves back to the center, to be with one another, and to empower yourselves in a multitude of ways that will allow you to dispel the veil that you think is your political reality, which is nothing but a smokescreen for what is really going on behind the scenes, so that you can truly open your eyes and see your world for what it is and how you can truly decide together to change it in ways that will allow you to join the galactic community in a positive way.
I'm really excited about open contact, but I'm also starting to feel uneasy. I feel like it's almost like being excited about the second coming of Jesus. And I never want to be the one to be tied to dogma or feel like I am a follower, even if I'm a follower of Bashar. I also don't want to be accused of being in some kind of cult. Can you help me with these feelings of uneasiness?
Again, it's all about self-empowerment, taking responsibility for yourself, being responsible to others, to be yourself. The idea, as we have expressed many times, of what you call the second coming is the awakening of the Christ consciousness within each and every heart of every person. It is not about dogma. It is about claiming your own spiritual relationship to all that is, to Source. It is about being the unique individual that you are and being of service to others by being who you are.
Our political system is struggling to function as intended by our founding fathers, with corruption in politics and highly qualified candidates unable to compete against dishonest ones. What steps can we take to reform our government and improve its functionality? What principles or strategies should guide us how our country is governed?
We have told you what the next step is.
Would you like to share your impressions on the congressional hearing on UFO UAPs that took place on November 13th?
Any discussion of this is a step toward open contact.
Wonderful. Will the UAP hearings before the U.S. Congress be the vehicle where Pleiadians are introduced to the world as part of disclosure?
Possibly. This has not yet been fully decided.
In the light of the election cycle, we can truly see what diverging train tracks look like from the political left and right, based on your definitions of positive and integration and negative and separation. Would choosing either political side and shunning the other be fundamentally negative? Shouldn't we be integrating both sets of viewpoints in order to remain positive?
As we have just said, yes, it's time to come together. It's time to look at the train tracks in this way. There is a track, meaning one rail. There is another track, one rail. There is a third track in the center. Allow yourself to view all three of these tracks, all three of the rails. Allow yourself to be on the train that may be using these two rails, and you can be on the train that may be using these two rails, but understanding that there is a common rail in the center. Allow yourselves now to come back to the glass wall, as we have just encouraged you to do. Now is the time for this. All of the preparation, all of the buildup, all of the positive, all of the negative. Again, a transmission from the oracle at the end of these questions will highlight this idea in a way that will allow you to fathom in your own way, at your own time, the interpretations and meanings that will allow you to move forward. We will not comment on the interpretation. We will not comment or respond if you ask us, did we get the right interpretation? There is no right interpretation in the ultimate sense. You will each decide for yourselves, and you will each decide together what the interpretation actually means. But it is being delivered because it is time for it to be delivered, and it is something that will create a little bit of mystery in you to allow you and encourage you to explore that mystery together, to understand in fullness and in the fullness of time toward contact what it actually means for you.
Bashar, as a first contact specialist, will you be the one making physical open contact with Earth when it's time for the Sasani to do so? And since you have connections to Earth, how do you feel about this? And what does this mean for you personally?
I will be among the first contact specialists from my civilization, yes. Obviously, this is representative of my passion, or I wouldn't be doing it. So that's what it means for me personally. I am very passionate about interacting with humans on Earth because I understand and I can see, I can observe the incredible potential, the incredible power you have to transform your world into heaven on earth. But it requires that you come together to do so.
We are very excited to meet you.
As are we to meet all of you. But the yous that we will be meeting will not be the yous that you are today. So become the yous that are the yous who will meet the us's.
I've been following your steps of the social experiment for open contact, but I struggle with fear when it comes to gathering groups for CE5. I'm fine practicing alone, but fear of being labeled crazy in my conservative community holds me back from involving others. How can I overcome this fear and take action without missing out?
Do you understand that the leader of the congressional UAP investigation is a conservative? Therefore, both sides are interested in the idea of bringing out information that has to do with disclosure and open contact. Learn what is going on and who the players are, and that may assuage your fears by understanding that you can rely on simple information to describe what is going on, and that many different people from many walks of life and many belief systems are coming together with regard to the idea of disclosure and the discussions of UFOs and UAPs. And this is what we're talking about. It is one of the areas in which all beliefs can come together. The very concept of open contact can be connective and uniting, no matter what your personal, philosophical, or political, or economic, or social beliefs may be. It can drive you to explore what's at the core of all of them in a way that you can begin true, deep communication with one another, looking past the surface representations that are not as important as the deep internal desires on a very simple level for what every human truly needs in life: to feel that they are worthy, that they are loved, that they are heard, that they belong. So let open contact and anything that has to do with it bring you together. Fear not. You are not alone in that endeavor.
If the Pleiadians are going to be the first ones to land, why don't we hear much about them or from them?
There is actually a lot of information about them if you will pay attention to the idea of things like UFO sightings. You will find that most of the sightings, the vast majority at this time, are actually Pleiadian ships. They're getting you used to their presence in a variety of ways. So, even though your news programs may not carry awareness of who these ships belong to, I'm telling you now, most of them are Pleiadian ships.
Are the ships on the videos that were published, are those the Pleiadian ships?
Some of them.
Can you describe what they look like?
There are a variety of types. Some of them, like our ships, are triangular. Some of them are saucer shaped. Some of them are cylindrical. It just depends upon the ship's function.
What technology was given to us by ETs in the past 50 years? And what will be the first 2 or 3 technologies that they will share, or you will share with us when open contact occurs?
As we have said, holographic recordings of your entire history, going back thousands upon thousands of years. Certain kinds of genetic, vibrational medical understandings, what you may term free energy devices, will also be part of some of the technologies that we will aid and assist you with, among other things.
From my life, like I've never existed, and she moved on really quickly with someone else after 1 month, and all of this make me feel like I'm pretty much useless to her. And my question is, why do I still, 6 months later, allow her to make me feel like that? Because I know I'm not, and my son demonstrated to me every day, my friends do the same, so I know I'm not, but I just don't understand why I still allow her to make me feel like that. This is my question. Thank you.
She doesn't make you feel like that. You make yourself feel like that. So her actions are pointing out to you that you're the one diminishing yourself. You're the one believing in your lack of worth. So she's giving you an opportunity to overcome that challenge, to know that you are worthy because you are getting signs that you are. It's giving you the opportunity to choose which ones you really want to pay attention to, which ones you want to believe are true. So you are still in doubt about your worth, which is why you keep wondering why you keep reacting the way that you're reacting and why you feel the way you feel about the fact that she is giving you this opportunity. So this is an agreement you have made to overcome your lack of self-worth and know that you deserve to know that you are worthy as the signs are being given to you by others in your life. Choose the path you really prefer and let go of the path that you don't.
Greetings, Bashar. How are you?
Good day. Perfect. And you?
Oh, I'm perfect as always. Yeah, this has been pretty synchronistic. My Wi-Fi went out as soon as my Zoom started, and That was a fantastic synchronicity, and it's a great practice of just letting go of any insistence of any outcome and staying in a positive state.
Yes, and then being able to tap into the information you need in other ways, like telepathically.
Exactly. It's like, if this conversation happened in this way, that would have been fantastic. And if it didn't, it would have served me just as it was in that way.
A good lesson in the idea we have already mentioned in this transmission, that it's not about what happens, it's about what you do with what happens that makes the difference in your reality. Yeah, so, amen. Well done.
So I was in Sedona for your transmission back in September. And I know, a lot of people were taken back from the political statements that you made. So was I, but I didn't say in a negative space. I quickly neutralized my beliefs and my feelings regarding those statements, and went back to what you had just mentioned, that it's what we do that matters. It's the actions that we take. Anything outside of ourselves, it doesn't matter. And this has been such a fantastic opportunity for me to really hold true to my beliefs and not give in to any of these external circumstances. Because,
all right,
fast forward to the present time, we have a male candidate that is our, presidential leader again. And we all know what you had said regarding that. And it has really allowed me to address a lot of fears within myself and to transform those fears. So it has really just been a fantastic blessing, this whole situation.
All right. And we would like to address one more issue.
Go ahead.
Based on the surprise reactions that people had about the fact that we said anything at all regarding your politics, which is unusual for us. But the point is, it's not going to be that unusual in the future. Because as contact occurs, do you not think we're going to become more involved in every aspect of your society, including your politics? So the idea of conferring with our councils, and the idea that we were allowed to even make anything close to what your people would perceive as a political statement, is an indication of how close you are to contact in some form or another. Because we are going to be involved in every layer of your society, including your politics, your sociology, your economics, your religions. Everything will shift. Everything will change. Our presence isn't going to leave any aspect of your society untouched. So we want you to understand how everything in some way, shape, or form will shift, but it will shift in a way that will allow you, all of you, to process what you need, to face the challenges that you need in a way that will serve humanity evolutionarily to the benefit of humanity for your forward momentum into the future. So realize when you are asking for contact, it doesn't mean we're going to remain aloof or separate from you in terms of the things that happen on your planet. We're going to be involved in every aspect of your society in many different ways, technologically, sociologically, politically, religiously, spiritually, really, economically, everything. So that's what contact really means. The fact that we could address something even similar to a political comment shows you how close you're getting to having our involvement on your planet.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for those words. And I like to bring up another event that occurred to me when I was in Sedona.
Yes.
And so I had just gotten to Sedona a few days before the event, and I met my mother, who now lives in Sedona, at Bell Rock, and it was around 9 o'clock at night, so the stars were out, and we went for a short hike to get into the beautiful energy of Bell Rock. And it was just so amazing to be there. And just the thoughts that were coming to my mind where, I know contact is going to happen and is already happening. However, I don't need to put the insistence that contact does need to happen in order to feel fulfilled, in order to be happy, because I put so much emphasis on it over the past years, and so much pressure on myself to make all this happen. But ultimately, it's like that in itself is still a condition. Is still
Yeah, absolutely. It's not that you need contact, and in fact, not needing it is what actually allows it to happen more quickly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so I was explaining this to my mom, and I really felt it within my heart, and it was so beautiful. And so we later went on back to the parking lot from Bell Rock. And as we were just about to get to the parking lot, I decided to stop and just take in the moment one last time, because it was that beautiful. I just wanted to soak every second of it in. And as I did that, I saw just the most amazing shooting star go from one end of the sky to another end of the sky. And that was just, my confirmation that I'm on the right track, another synchronicity. My question for you was that a shooting star, or was that possibly a ship that I had saw?
No, it was a shooting star, but the synchronicity is what's important for you. And you took it in the way that you needed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, the fact that it was a shooting star even makes it not that much more beautiful, but it was just perfect the way it was. So, yes. Okay. So one last question. I've had a few gray owl encounters, and I know others have as well. What is the connection between the grays and the owls?
Well, they simply use owls to project the idea of a masked image, so that if it is really not an owl, it is simply something that you're familiar with that energetically represents them, but is a projected telepathic memory, so that you won't necessarily see them as they are, but see something that you are somewhat familiar with, that you don't necessarily freak out about, but you understand there may be something unusual about it. It's called a screen memory.
Okay. Why owls though? Why not another bird or another animal?
Well, they have very large eyes. Like the grays.
Okay.
There are other animals that have been reported in those screen memories, like deer and some such animals along those lines. But owls, again, as you say, gray owls, well, gray, large eyes, and wisdom. Owls are wise in your archetype, yes?
They are.
All right. And they are, in the night, because of their wing structure, very silent. They're suddenly upon you before you know it, because you don't hear them coming. So all of those qualities and attributes do fit the grays as well.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, I appreciate your time, and thank everybody, physical and non-physical, is here participating in these interactions. All my love to you.
Our unconditional love to you as well. Avail. Good day.
Iliabe, thank you.
Hello. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Darryl and Bashar for all that they do for us. I have a question I'd like to ask Bashar, please. I understand from his teachings that when we are awake in the physical reality that we know, we are actually asleep because we are still in spirit and we have never left spirit. If that's how we perceive things, where are our spirit guides? When we are actually asleep and dreaming and back in spirit, are we able to communicate with them then? But then when we awaken back into the dream state here, do we forget them? So I hope that makes sense. So basically, when we're asleep back in the spirit world, are we able to communicate with our spirit guides there? Or are they in another dimension completely? I hope you can help me with that question. Thank you.
Yes, they're in the spirit dimension. Therefore, it's sort of like diving into the ocean and then getting back up on the boat. The people helping you are on the boat. You talk with them when you're on the boat, and then you decide to dive back into the water where now they're up on the boat and you're in the water and you can't really communicate. But then you go back up on the boat and you can talk to them again. So this is similar to what happens with your spirit guides. You focus on your physical experience, you withdraw within yourself. Now, a portion of your consciousness as the soul is still there and still communicating with them, but as the physical being, you don't necessarily perceive all of that. But when you go to sleep, when you relax and go back into the connection of your spirit self, then yes, you're having communication. Sometimes you may remember them as dreams, or you may not remember them at all. Depends on how it serves a purpose to remember it, or how you remember it. But yes, that's basically what's happening. You focus down into physical reality. You want to focus on your physical life. You don't want to be interfered with. You want to be left to your own devices. The guides up on the boat will guide you subtly through synchronicity and a few other kinds of methodologies. And you can communicate with them freely when you're back up on the boat, but they leave you mostly to your own devices, just guiding you gently when you're under the water, when you're back in physical reality. That's just the way it works. It's the way you want it to work. Good day, good day, good day.
Good day, Bashar.
What would you like to discuss?
Well, I'd like to thank you, my deep appreciation to you for this interaction. And I would like to start with discussing step 5, volunteering of the Interstellar Alliance social experiment.
Yes.
I joined something called a threshold choir, which is a small choir of people who sing for people who are transitioning into spirit.
All right.
Hospice patients. And I was wondering, from a harmonic perspective, could you tell me how music helps to unlock people from physical reality?
Well, it can contain harmonics that are representative of the higher frequencies of the spirit realm, and therefore get them familiar by imbuing them with those frequencies, by bathing them in those frequencies, get them used to the vibrations that are representative of the higher spiritual realm and make the transition easier for them.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like lubricating the path.
Mm-hmm.
Putting them in a calm state that allows the transition to be smoother by bathing them in the harmonics of where they're going.
Oh, interesting. You recently described how our birthing process will evolve, in that we're going to be like in a dream state, and then we'll come out of that and there will be a baby there. That's simplified.
Yes, but that's many, many years down the road.
Yes, and I was just wondering, could you similarly describe the dying process, how that will evolve?
Again, far in the future, as you know time to exist, it will simply be that you will step out of, quote unquote, the body. You will expand yourself back to the soul level, the astral level, and the soul spirit level. The body eventually will no longer even be left. It will simply disappear back into energy in the way that it was formed.
Okay. Is there any transitional phase before that that we're heading
yes,
toward?
again, it will be that the body will still be in your physical reality, but there will be no infirmity, there will be no illness. You will simply decide to leave. You will simply step out of it.
Okay. I was also wondering if you were surprised by the election results.
No, not at all.
Okay. I just have one more question. Now with step 6, the CE5s.
Yes.
Do you have any? It's getting colder here. I've been doing some here, but it's getting colder here. And I was wondering if you have any suggestions for other types of group gatherings where we can make ET contact, maybe indoors or in an environment.
Do you think that being inside a building would in any way, shape, or form be an inhibition for extraterrestrial contact?
Well, how would we see them if we were inside, really? I mean, we just look out the window?
You can either look out a window or you can allow certain phenomenon to appear inside the building. like spheres,
Okay.
energy
Okay.
spheres.
That's a good idea. All
So,
right.
no,
Okay.
you don't have to be outside to experience contact. Invite them in.
Okay. That's a great idea. I'll just use my creative imagination to come up with something.
All right. Many people see orbs inside buildings, and some of those are representative of ET contact. Some of them are representative of spirit contact. So it's absolutely no impediment at all to have a building around you for an orb to go right through the ceiling or right through the wall. Remember, they're not in the same phase that you are. That's not going to stop them.
Yes, I appreciate that point of view because I don't think most of us were used to doing it through CE5 outdoors, and it's not as common to have indoor ET contact gathering.
Yes. All right. But again, it's not going to stop it from happening.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just happen differently. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate this time we spent together today, and I love you.
All right. As do we appreciate it and our unconditional love to you as well. Good day.
Good day.
I have my own production house creating my own movie. But what about other people who also play a part in my movie? Do I have a say as to how they react, behave, or interact with me? Or all these are still their own decisions at the soul level? Meaning that their world and my world actually share the same storyline or separate. For example, can a man actually create a reality in which his ex-wife actually moves back and falls in love with him all over again, while his ex-wife in her world, in her movie, she has actually moved on and married someone else? How separate or overlapped are these different worlds?
It can happen that way, although again, it depends upon how it serves a purpose in that life path to experience those things. The idea is that you make agreements with others, agree to different kinds of storylines, as you say, but you still experience your version of those stories in your reality. By agreement, others will seem to share the same reality, even though they are in their own reality, perceiving their versions of you as you are perceiving your versions of them. So you are creating your versions of them, and it will be based on your belief systems about what you need from them, which can be either slightly or very different from what they may perceive in their reality of their version of you. It just depends on how closely aligned the different versions have agreed to be in terms of what you experience with each other in creating those representations of each other in your own realities. But again, sometimes it can diverge quite readily, quite far, and sometimes it will stay very closely aligned, depending upon the agreement you have made and what purpose it serves to either remain aligned or misaligned. Good day, good day.
Ha'ata Bashar.
Ha'atu.
Ha'atu. Wow. I feel great. It's a great day.
All right.
I feel like we have had a conversation before, maybe telepathically. I was standing out in my yard and I had just listened to some of your stuff, and yeah, I could feel something. I don't know if it was that me making it up in my head with my.
It is your higher mind, and also in combination with us, because we have many conversations with people on the non-physical realm before we have them in the physical realm. But the idea is that it always involves your higher mind to gain practice for you in understanding that your higher mind can answer all the things we have been answering for all of you for all this time as well.
Cool. I do want to ask some specific questions. One, I'll just start off with one of them is about I'm a farmer. I work with the land, and I heard you talk about the Lyrians, and I just want to, I guess, talk more about like water, plants, animals, the energy of those things, and my relationship with them, and how I can evolve those. Like I know water bending is a thing. There's a lot of things that I've seen in movies like superheroes can do, and I just get chills when I see those things. So I feel like they're possible.
All of them happen in spirit. All of them can happen in spirit. Some of them can be brought into the physical realm if you allow yourself to see the physical realm as an extension of spirit more strongly. Not all of them are relevant for your particular life path, but certainly by allowing yourself to understand yourself as an extension and an expression of nature, as nature, rather than being in nature, then you can blend more fully with the idea of the consciousness of nature in all its forms, plant and animal, and elements, and allow yourself more efficacy with the communication with those particular forms of consciousness as well. Being a farmer, in a sense, you have a head start on this because you understand how to work with the land. Allowing yourself to understand everything that's physical as being an extension and an expression of spirit can also help you accelerate your ability to receive and send communications to all the elements we have mentioned.
Cool. And does that include the Sasquatch or other
all things in nature? All things in nature.
So are the Sasquatch aware of me?
They can be. They are aware of many humans individually, especially those that work the land. So peripherally, they can be aware of you, though it may not be extensive.
What is a way to sort of invite them, I guess, or
go into the forests where it has been said they inhabit, where it has been said they visit, and allow yourself to begin the cryptic meditations that Willa has delivered to all of you in the past. Sitting with your back to a tree, near a source of water, listening to the water, and extending your mind deep underground into the root system and the mycelial network of the tree, and beginning to blend with the communication between the trees in that way, can also connect you to many forms of nature, including the elementals and including the idea of Sasquatch. Begin those kinds of meditations on the cryptic journey, and it can improve your ability to perceive and receive communication from many different kinds of beings that exist that many people on your planet don't even know about.
Cool. And teleportation, is that possible with my physical body, or do I need some sort of ship?
No, you do not need a ship. You have to understand that you're already teleporting all the time. That's how you move. You jump from moment to moment. You teleport from moment to moment. It's just that you do it so smoothly and so quickly, you don't even know you're doing it. So getting a deeper understanding of the fact that you're already doing it, because every moment you shift to a different reality, literally a different universe, you are teleporting constantly. Even to have the experience of a movement like this requires teleportation through billions of different parallel universes. So if you understand more deeply that you're already teleporting, you can increase your vibration to be able to perceive the rate at which you are already teleporting to create the sensation of movement, which is an illusion. And therefore, by increasing your frequency, you can match the frequency more readily of how you are shifting from reality to reality and perceive that you are always teleporting. And in doing that, you can learn to teleport in different ways that are more perceivable by those around you. But again, it depends on whether this is relevant for your life path.
Cool. And I've heard you say before that when the earth changes, it's not the earth changing, it's me shifting into different versions of earth.
As I just explained again.
Yeah. So what is my desire to regenerate the earth, to regenerate the land, if it's me shifting into something different?
The desire is to be a living example of the state of being and the actions that go along with that state of being that allow others to see in you how they can also choose to shift to versions of Earth that are more reflective of what they prefer.
Cool. And one of my last questions here, I want to get a little bit more specific about my personal myself. I know that I also listen to Abraham Hicks, so I know that in my vortex, there's this all around me is this pure, massive well-being. And I know that there are some thoughts that may be foreign beliefs that resist me allowing who I am to flow. And those thoughts are what I want to get at so that I can, I guess,
All right.
identify them.
Well, the easiest way to do that is ask yourself how it serves you to hold on to them, because you don't hold on to anything that you don't believe serves you. So you have to look for the structure and the nature of what the belief is telling you and realize that you may have a belief that is causing you to be afraid to move forward because the belief is telling you that if you do let go, something worse will happen. So you have to find out what that belief is saying to you to see that it's nonsensical and not a fact. It's just a story.
And is that something that you're able to see in me? Or how do you?
I can only tell you how to allow yourself to discover it. Because again, this goes to the motivational mechanism. Listen carefully. You hold on to anything you believe serves you, even if it's a negative thing, because you believe the alternative would be worse. So you'll hold on to even something negative if you believe it's the safer alternative. So you have to find out what you're afraid might happen if you move forward in the direction you say you prefer, but find that you're not moving forward in that direction. It can only be because you have a belief that says moving forward in that direction would be worse than staying put, no matter how negative staying put actually would be. So you have to discover within yourself what you're afraid of might happen if you move forward.
Okay. And when I live in Hawaii, is there
Yes.
anything here, maybe around my location, that?
What island are you on?
Say that again.
What island are you on?
Maui.
All right. You understand that Haleakala is the heart chakra of the world, yes?
Yes.
The heart vortex. Allowing yourself to meditate in the understanding will open up your heart and open up communication to many different forms of elemental being.
Cool.
Does that serve you?
Yes. What about my last question is about you.
Yes.
Do you have human friends? Do you ever hang out on Earth?
I have not
Do you
set
wanna be
foot
friends?
upon your planet at this time. My ship is in your atmosphere, but I have not set foot upon your planet at this time. We consider all humans potentially to be our friends if they are willing to be so.
Well, I am, and it'd be cool to hang out.
There may come a time when that is possible physically. For now, it is not yet the time.
Okay. And my last question that comes up is about dragons.
Dragons are a projection of a certain interdimensional form of consciousness that is interpreted in your reality as the form of a dragon. That's not how they look in their own reality, but it is an expression of ancient wisdom and great power that takes that form because that's the form that your physical reality best interprets those interdimensional forms of consciousness.
Cool. Okay. So the
Thank you. You said that was your last question.
Yes. Thank
Then
you.
we thank you for your interaction, our unconditional love to you. Aveo.